Hello, everyone. Welcome to Amateur Hour Gaming. Today, we're going to be looking at Red Dead Redemption. This is a very, very special game to me. It might be my favorite video game ever made. It's definitely up there at top five, top three. I mean, I'd have a hard time coming up with a game that I've enjoyed more. It came out 10 years ago, believe it or not, way back May 2010. It released on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and that was it. This game has never been remade, it's never been remastered. It's backwards compatible on the Xbox One, but you're still playing the Xbox 360 version. And that's crazy to me. In this day and age of remakes and re-releases and all that, we still have not had this game on anything except for Xbox 360, PlayStation 3. Today, right now, on your screen, I'm playing it through PlayStation Now on PC because my PlayStation 3 is at my parents' place at this time, and they live too far away for me to travel to, and I can't record on that anyways. I don't know how, but this works. This works. So since it's on PlayStation Now, the screen quality might not be the best because I'm streaming it to myself, and also there is definitely a little bit of input lag. Red Dead Redemption is extremely generous on the auto aim when you pull the trigger, so that helps a ton, but there are times where it'll drop for a little bit or it won't look so good. But that's not important. We're not looking at this for my gameplay. We're looking at this for what it is. I think this game is a masterpiece. It's one of the best games ever made. I love it dearly. It completely changed how I viewed video games because this is gonna be a lot of stories. Back in 2010, that was May 2010 was the end of my freshman year of college. Before that, okay, well, time out here. I am, let's see, 10 hours into the game, 41% through it. I've done a few missions in Mexico. We're in Mexico right now. For those of you who have played the game, this is what I would consider like the second act. I'm just gonna play through it and we'll see how it goes. What's this over here? In peril. Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to do that later. 2010, May 2010, this game came out. I Before that, in high school, middle school, I had a Nintendo GameCube and a Nintendo Wii. Freshman year of college, I believe it was November, the November before this game came out, I switched to a PlayStation 3. But before that, I had only experienced, your classic Nintendo games, all the Super Mario Brothers, and then when I got my PlayStation 3, I played a ton of sports games that I did not have on the Nintendo Wii. A ton of I mean, I was only for a little bit there, but even before that on the GameCube, I played so much Madden, so much NCAA football, baseball games. I didn't really play any shooters. I mean, obviously I had a Wii for the longest time. That wasn't the best for shooters. So when this game came out, it kind of took me by surprise. Another thing, I guess, is I always have a soft spot for westerns. It is a criminally underrepresented genre in in video games. I like how many western games can you name? I played Gun on the GameCube way back in the day. I'm ignoring a lot of these side stuff just because I'm playing this for the enjoyment of the story. Yeah, there was Gun on, I believe it was PlayStation 2. It might have been Xbox, I don't know for sure, and it was definitely on GameCube because that's what I played it on. That was my first foray into westerns. I just love the scenery. I love. Oh, it's too early in the morning, isn't it? Let me in. Let me in. Oh, huh, my bad. Oh, I'm gonna be bouncing around topic to topic like I usually do. I have a couple of self-proclaimed rules that I set for myself when I play Red Dead Redemption and other games. I like to push the realism as much as I can because let's okay, so my two rules when I play Red Dead Redemption. I do not do fast travel. Thank you, horsey. I do not do fast travel and I don't sprint. unless it makes sense for John Marston, the main character, to be running. And that's weird, I know, but fast travel, cowboys couldn't fast travel. That wasn't a thing that they could do. And the running, look how goofy he looks when he runs. Look at this. He's got this weird little waddle. And I just think it looks silly, and I don't like going through town, everyone else walking around like doing their daily thing, and John Marston just going eh, 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 eh. So that's why I don't do that. If I need to get anywhere, I usually ride a horse. It's weird, but I love the realism. I want to be in this situation. Bouncing around to a new subject because that's what I do here. If you don't know the story of Red Dead Redemption, also I'm going to be talking about spoilers for the whole game because it's been out for 10 years. Oh man, I've got so many things in my head right now. Another couple of things. Red Dead Redemption is technically a spiritual successor, sequel, whatever you want to say, to Red Dead Revolver, which came out, I believe, in 2004. It was the early 2000s. I had never heard of it when Red Dead Redemption came out. No idea. It's a very different game from this, made by different developers. Check back between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. It's like 2 a.m. So let's go sleep. Um, yeah, it's a spiritual successor to Red Dead Revolver, and Horsey, come here. It's the I have not played any of Red Dead Redemption 2, not a single second of it. And you're probably like, "Wow, you love this game so much." No, really? Can I go around? Oh, there it goes. Uh, you're probably like, wow, you love Red Dead Redemption so much. Why did you never play the sequel? I don't own a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, and my PC is not, it's below the minimum requirements. So the only way I'm going to be able to play it is if I get it on Stadia. And after playing this, I'm strongly considering it. Even though I know that's not the ideal way to play it, it's better than not playing it at all. But back to Red Dead Redemption. 2010, this game came out. I played Gun when that came out, and that was fine for what it was. It's not the best game, but it's the best Western there was at the time. Literally, like I don't think there was a better Western game. Then I went to sports games. I never played Halo. I never played any of the. I never had an Xbox, so I've never played any of those Halos, Gears of War, any of that. I never. So shooters were new to me, and games with a story were new to me. And this game came out and just completely blew my mind. The story in it is so dang good. I don't know what else to say. The backstory is you play as John Marston, who used to be in a gang, in a gang that did gang things. They murdered people, they robbed from people. He looks back on it and sees that he was in the morally okay area. He was like, we stole from the rich and gave to the poor, and please open the door. Okay, I'll walk in. Maybe I'm not supposed to ride the horse through it. He sees that he knows that what he did was bad, but he tries to make himself feel okay with it. And he eventually left the gang. He married someone. They have a child together. He bought a piece of land. He wanted to move on. He was ready to move on from his past. And then the federal government, this is in 1911, the federal government comes in and kidnaps. I don't know if they kidnap him or like take them from him, but they take his. I'm going to talk over this because this is just Mexico stuff. They take his wife and son, hold them hostage, and say, hey, you got to go back and kill the three main people of your gang because they're causing chaos throughout this region. And we don't want to get our hands dirty. So you're going to do it or else we're going to keep your family. So that's what he's doing right now. He starts off going after Bill Williamson in the southern U.S., which I guess is where he's been the whole time. And he escapes to Mexico, and I've just gotten to Mexico, and I'm looking for him. He is teamed up with Javier Escuela, who is another member of his gang. So we're hoping to do a 2-for-1 deal here. Right now, he's talking to the Mexican government to try and find Javier Escuela, because he's hoping that'll lead him to Bill Williamson, the other member of his gang. It's this game, one of the reasons it blew my mind so much was because it's got these heavy themes that everything in the story plays into. And I don't know, it's just great. It really makes you think, it really makes you feel for these characters, for the time they're in. Some of the themes that it deals with is your past, especially John Marston, dealing with your past. He he teams up in this game even he teams up with some less than good people. Like in the first area, there's a grave robber that you work with, or a guy who sells fake science stuff. What are they called? Like those cure-alls, the perfect drink that cure every disease. And when he works with him, he's like, "This is pretty despicable. You're a terrible person, robbing these graves." And everyone calls him out, and they're like, "Look, man, we know who you are. You've done so much crappy stuff in your life." And John's trying to move on from it so hard. It's about, can you escape your past? Can you truly ever escape your past? Can you ever actually start over? And John Marston dealing with that. We get to see if he ever does get to escape his past. Another thing, technology, moving things forward, civilization, uh, taming the wilderness of the West. I'll never forget. I'll never forget this Reddit thread I was on. later in the game, in the near the end, you move east and you go into an actual city with like paved roads. Some of them have automobiles. And I remember reading on Reddit about it. Some guy commented that he hated that part. He was like, I've spent all this time in the wilderness and then I had to go into this city and my horse's hooves on the pavement. I hated that. It it really ruined the wilderness that I loved. And other people were like, that's the point, dude. That's the point, is that you're supposed to be like, is this civilization okay? We're taking over the wilderness. What's the technology's purpose? I genuinely didn't listen to anything of this guy said. It's crazy how much sticks with me from this game, because I have the worst memory ever. I'll forget tons of stuff from games. Okay, see? He's running, so now I can run. And he also said we must hurry. There's so many things from this game that I remember that had such an impact on me. I'll give a couple stories. Okay, first. Before we get to that, I'm gonna bounce around to something else. Excuse me. So, one thing I've noticed while playing this game, I played it straight through in 2010, beat the whole thing, which is also rare for me as a young freshman in college. I played it all the way through, and then I played the first area a few times and then always fell off in Mexico, because I'll be honest, Mexico is kind of long, it's kind of a drag. It's kind of a slow thing. But one thing I've noticed when playing this now in 2020 is this game is focused as heck. You are a cowboy and you do cowboy things. Like, games in 2020 overload you with stuff. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I was completely overwhelmed by the size of the map, by the number of things to do, by the inventory management, by the crafting. There's no crafting in this game. There's no inventory management. There's no rarity of weapons. Here's what you have for inventory management. You've got your guns and you can pick between them. That's it. That's your entire inventory. There's items, I mean, like, there's consumables and provision. No, I don't have any provisions. There's consumables like medicine that heal you. Horse pills make your pill go faster. Moonshine refills your Deadeye meter. And bait brings out wild animals. Chewing tobacco, what does that do? That also refills the Deadeye meter. But that's it. There's no crafting. You don't collect resources. You just do cowboy stuff. Like, oh, okay. Race? Oh, okay, when did that happen? Even the side missions, yeah, I've got... Apparently they give you a super fast horse in the PlayStation Now version. These side missions, like, you do them for the story. There's no... Like, in other games it'd be like, okay, you get a cool new weapon from doing this, or you get a bunch of crafting materials. You don't get, like, any physical rewards for doing the side missions, for doing the extra things. Like, Most side missions, I get $12, $7.
If my men are dead, the rebels will all die. If they're
Okay.
alive, they have failed me, and the rebels will all die.
Nice.
So, I guess we ain't taking any prisoners then.
Oh, that's a fun game. Yeah, the side missions you just do because of the story stuff. You don't... I won. You don't get new weapons. You do the side missions and you get some money, but the side stories are so good. The stories are so good, and that's what's great. Like, every mission, you do cowboy stuff. There are a couple of side missions that do collectathons. Search the town for the rebels. Well, let's get my gun out. I don't like his shuffle. Oh, I remember this. And there are a couple of side missions and side things that really stick out to me. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm gonna have to... Sometimes the input delay is real bad on this. Okay, you're dead. Oh gosh. Dang, I'm so good at video games. It's gonna look like my aiming's real bad. That's genuinely the PlayStation Now stuff. Also, John dies so quickly. Take cover. Take cover. The controls aren't bad. It's just playing on PlayStation Now. And maybe it is a little buggy. I haven't played in a long time. Sorry about me not talking here during this. Oh my gosh, stop. Okay, one more. There he is. As you can see, maybe, the auto-aiming, like I said, extremely generous. Okay, so, a couple of side stories that have always stuck with me. There's a side mission where you find an old man picking flowers. And you're like, hey guy, how's it going? Do you need help with these flowers? He's like, oh, hi, thank you. Yeah, I'm getting real old. My wife's getting real old too. She can't really make it around town too much anymore. So I just wanted to... We've been together 60 years, and so I wanted to... Hold on, I just want to make sure I don't have to make a choice. Good work. It's time to finish what we started. And he's like, yeah, take fire bottles.
We're not leaving until you finish this.
Select fire bottle. Burn one of the rebel hideouts. Let's burn this stone.
Burn it down. Now the next one.
And the guy's like, yeah, I'd like to collect some flowers, make a nice bouquet for her. And John's like, that's pretty sweet of you. Let's I'll collect some for you. Oh, John, see, he's like, am I really escaping my past, or am I still just a jerk?
You really are pathetic.
You need to relax. Come back to the villa and sample some of the new girls before they spoil it.
And so you can go around collecting the flowers. There's no see, like this mission I just did got $50 and that's it. We're gonna walk around and collect stuff from the bodies because I'm kind of low on ammo. And I also am low on money. And so you go around, collect the flowers. And then you go back to the guy and you're like, hey, brought you the flowers. He's like, oh, thanks. You want to come in and meet the missus? And I'm like, this is a nice little break. This is a sweet thing. You go in, and the guy's like, let me introduce you to, I don't remember her name. It's a corpse. The dude has a corpse of his wife just sitting there. She's been dead for who knows how long, and he is just like insane, obviously. I still remember the moment when I saw that, and it made me gasp. It made me like, this is seriously messed up. It's just one of those things. I know there are games that have done stuff like that before, but again, this was my first experience with, like, one of those games where the world's crappy, everyone's crappy, Here's how horrible people can be. Another moment. I am traveling the world. As you travel the world, there are these random. Oh man, I'm not gonna loot that body in there. There are these random events that you can stumble across. What's closer? I think Luisa's probably closer. This is tough though. We'll go to Luisa. Just so you can see some variety, I guess. As you're traveling the world, there will be random events that pop up. Like there will be a person that'll be like, "Hey, can you help me? Why is this door not opening?" You'll be like, "Hey, can you help me?" And you can be like, "Okay." Or there'll be like a sheriff will be like, "Hey, two prisoners escaped. Can you go help them?" Or go get them, not help them. Help those prisoners. Or there'll be a woman who's being attacked, and you can help her or just keep going. There's lots of stuff like that. And one thing I stumbled across, I was just traveling through the wilderness, just making my way downtown, walking fast, faces pass. Oh, I'm kidding. And I come across this guy who's kneeling over a body of a woman. And so I go up to him, and I'm like, I get off my horse, and I literally say out loud, "Dude, what? Oh, no, it's okay, dude, come here." And I walk up to him, and he takes his gun, puts it next to his head, and fires the trigger, and kills himself. And that was it. There was no story around it. There was no reward. I could have probably looted the bodies. Yeah, you don't need help. It's a trap. Okay, actually, he did need help, but that's okay. And it just shocked me. I was like, what just happened? I went up to help this guy, and he killed himself right in front of me. It's just a thing that happened. That's just the kind of world this is. Bad things happen. It's not a game where you get rewards for doing the right thing. You are just a person in this world. And it's just one of those I keep saying it, I feel like it's just one of those things, man. It just really it's really powerful. It's tough for me to put into words, but this game is something good. It's not perfect. I know I say a lot of positive things. It's not perfect. As you can see, maybe it's kind of blurry. I know that back then the best the PS3 could do is 720p, so I think that's what this is too. Oh, Luisa, what happened?
Oh, Mr. Marston, Mr. Marston.
What's wrong, Louisa?
I don't wait for myself, but for my country. Abram Reyes has been captured.
He has?
He was coming to meet me at Roca Madera. It's a very romantic spot. It was a beautiful night, yet he was ambushed by patrol. My heart is breaking, but I cry for Mexico.
It's very dramatic.
Where's he being held?
El Presidio. You know, in our hearts we are married already, but his family do not approve. How could they, when I am little more than a peasant girl?
Also, you're kind of homeless now too.
The man he is. He doesn't care for their bourgeois, snobbery, or elitism. He sees the real me. The woman.
I'm sure.
I'm going to go and rescue him or die trying.
You'll probably die trying.
I don't think that's such a good idea.
See, this is another
Ride with
thing.
me to near the jail.
You, in America, where you did most of your exploits in the gang, people know who you are. They're afraid of you. And then you come down to Mexico, and there's this whole revolution happening. There's been revolutions happening for decades, because Mexico's a new country at this point. I mean, America's decently new too. Oh, okay. Shuffle away, John. Ride shotgun. Good. Isn't... Could have swore that...
Every second
Oh, yeah.
Abraham is closer to them.
I'm getting there. And then you come to Mexico. Okay, here's another me thing. I don't... Are you gonna go, Luisa? There you go. I don't skip these either because I consider that fast traveling, and you get some story exposition. So I watch this. Sometimes you get story exposition. So I don't skip this. I know it's weird. Anyways, John comes to Mexico, and there's these revolutions going on. And he's a passive participant in it. Like, these revolutions have already been happening. These characters are already fighting. And he comes and goes, and it's still happening. He's not... This isn't his world. These people have problems that are deeper than his. Like, he talks to Landon Ricketts, who's another extremely fascinating character, who was the top cowboy when John Marston was a boy, and now he lives in Mexico where he's retired. John comes here like trying to find Javier Escuela and Bill Williamson, and he's asking for people for help, and all these people like don't want to help him because they've got other things on their mind. They've got revolution on their mind. They've got feeding their families on their mind. They're like, no, we're gonna go and raid these people though if you want to come help. It's the story. These people's lives aren't centered around him like so many games are. Like how so many games are centered around the main character. And it's refreshing to see. It's something that not a lot of games do well. Speaking of things that other games do well, we're going full spoiler now. We're gonna talk about the end of this game. The theme of can you truly escape your past, or will it always be there? John doesn't. He tries his best. At the end, after you kill all of the members of his gang, he goes back to his family and he starts living that life. Like, you herd cattle, you go hunting with your son, you do chores for your wife. He's done it. He's literally he's done it. He's escaped his past. He's living that life with his family. And I loved that. I loved that you got to experience that. That you got to experience this thing that he's wanted. That is the end goal for him, is killing them so that he can go back to his family and live a normal life. And getting to experience that made me so happy. I was happiest in this game when he was with his family, talking to his son about reading, because his son likes to read. And it was great. I was like, this is what he went through so much. He killed so many people to get to this point. And it was great. And then it gets taken away because the government comes and they murder him. I'm assuming because they can't have any loose ends for all the stuff they did. There's really no dialogue. I'm excited but scared to play through that part again because it gets me pretty emotional. And yeah, he dies. John dies at the end of this. Spoiler, but I warned you. And it's a 10-year-old game. And one problem I have with a lot of video games is how they end and how you keep playing after it ends. Because that's a problem that not a lot of video games manage to do well. For an example, last year I finally beat Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And after you defeat Ganon, you have all the cutscenes and you have the final stuff, and it's like, yay, I did it. And then it brings you back to the menu, and there's a little star next to your save. And I was like, oh, okay, so what happens when I go back in? Can I explore and talk to people? And they'd be like, hey, you killed Ganon. Good job, proud of you. Nicely done. No. When you load back into the game, it loads into your last save before defeating Ganon. That world is perpetually stuck in that pre-Ganon world. You can never see what happens after you defeat Ganon. You can never see that world. You can never talk to people. It will always be while he is still roaming. Well, not roaming, he's in the castle, but... And that sucks! That sucks so much! It really takes away... Why would I want to play in that world? I literally just saved the world, and then it puts me back in where the world sucks, and everyone's suffering. It sucks. A lot of games do that. A lot of story games do that. Or you beat them and that's it. Like the BioShock Infinite was another game that I beat in college. And I beat the story and that was it. I had no reason to go back into it. I played the story straight through. That's one way to end a game, is just to have an ending. But this is an open world game, so it's kind of different. Yeah, I shouldn't compare BioShock Infinite. This is an open world game, so it's different. After John dies, the game isn't over. You then take control of his son many years later. And that's who you play as for the rest of the game. You can't go back and play as John. John is dead. But you can play as his son. And I was sad, but I was like, this is interesting. This is unexpected. And there's a question mark on your map, I believe. It's not like a mission. It's like, hey, there's a person here. You can go talk to them. You can find the locations of the people the government officials that murdered your father, and you can go kill them. and it's so satisfying. I'm not the type of person to I'm very against revenge in real life. An eye for an eye leaves everyone blind, but this it's super satisfying to go back because I don't remember the exact conversations they have, but to be Jack Marston, John's son, I believe his name's Jack, and to get revenge for them killing your father, it's very emotional, and then you can play the rest of the game as Jack. You can go and finish the exploring. You can finish what John started if there were any things you left undone. Drink some water real quick. And I love that because it keeps the impact of John's death. It keeps that impact in there. If it took the Breath of the Wild approach, which was a game that wasn't even wasn't even thought about back then, if it kept that approach after John would die, and if that were the end of the game, you would load up and you'd be John again. And that would just, like I said, it would destroy the impact. So getting to play as Jack, his son, years later, is brilliant. Straight up brilliant. And I love it. It keeps that impact of John dying. I like getting to see his son. A lot of people find Jack annoying. The things that he say annoying. I honestly didn't play that much as Jack because after I got revenge from my dad, I was like, that's it. He can move on with his life now. I can move on with my life too. And I really love the way that that's happened. I haven't seen a game do an ending like that since this game 10 years ago. Other games, like I said, Breath of the Wild, it ends and then you go, when you load back in, it's a time before the last battle. So many games do that, time before the last battle. And I don't like that. As I was saying before though, the game is not perfect. It does have flaws. Like I said, the graphics look a little, they look a little muddy. They're not the crystal clearest because it is a 10-year-old game. But man, look at how good this scenery is. I can't believe I haven't said anything yet. Look at this. Oh, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. So gorgeous. The animals roaming around, the scenery, the amount of detail they pack into everything. I love it. There's a bunch of bugs with animals moving around, with some of the controls. I had a point where
I'll do my best.
There is a partially broken down wall.
okay, I'm listening to
You should
this.
be able to scramble over it. Hurry, but please be careful. There are guards everywhere. If they see you, they will kill you both.
Well, we don't want that, do we?
If he's alive, I'll try to make sure he
Excuse me.
stays that way.
I keep hiccuping after I drink water.
Waiting for me near the river. Bring up
I've had some
there.
points where,
Good luck.
like, I talked to
You have God on your side. Good
I
luck.
talked to Landon Ricketts, and the little thing on the bottom, like where it says "Find a way in here," it said "Follow Landon Ricketts," and he was literally just walking in a circle, talking, and I was talking to him, but he was just walking in a circle, and I had to nudge him out of the way to push him back on track. I had a thing where, like, one of those random events where there's a criminal running at me and the police were following him, so I was like, okay, well, I will rope him up, and I took out my rope and started hog tying him, and the police. Is this? I feel like this isn't where I'm supposed to go. She said there was a thing I could climb over. The police were just shooting him the whole time I was tying him up, and as he was on the ground, they just kept shooting him. I wonder if I'm supposed to go up there. Yeah, they just kept shooting him, and then they killed him, and they're like, hey, thanks for your help, and it was just really bizarre as they were shooting this guy while I was tying him up. There's just a bunch of weird random bugs, but it's nothing huge. It's not Fallout style bugs or Elder Scrolls style bugs. Ah, there's the broken wall. Yep, I get to go over here. The scenery is fantastic. The graphics for the time were mind-blowing. I know, like I said, they look a little fuzzy now. It might be PlayStation now, but I also think this is just how it looks, because it's an older game. Let's go in here and rescue this guy. Another thing is you can do the missions in not any order, but like there are set times when you can do missions for people. Get to the sniping position. We call it duty now. And sometimes, oh, this is cool. Nobody can save you. I think that's what he was saying. I speak a little bit of Spanish. And sometimes you can do the missions out of order. So I need to kill him? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I didn't read what it said. Ah, no. Finish the executioner. Which one's the executioner? Okay. I think it's... I don't have any ammo? What is this? What is this nonsense? Yeah, didn't get anyone with that shot. Shut up, John. They know exactly what they're fighting for. Sometimes he takes so long to get back into cover. It's so frustrating. Dang it, he's still alive. Ugh! Oh, I never actually picked up the gun. He dies so quickly and it's so frustrating. I hate dying in video games. I never mentioned that. Oh, here we go. There we go. Okay, let's switch to this now so that I can auto-target. Get back into cover. I'm going to tell you when I let go of the trigger and he should pop back into cover. Now, that's like a full second of him having to get back into cover. There, just took out the whole group. Rescue Reyes. You can do some of the missions out of order. No, we'll stick with running, just because I could see this being a time where he wants to run. Oh, yeah, this is a running time. You can do missions out of order, like I was doing missions for Landon Ricketts, and he was the only one that I had done the missions for. And yeah, see, I am vamosing. No, it's John, not Victoria.
Luisa sent me.
I did missions for Landon Ricketts, and that was it in Mexico. And after the last one, he was like, I've heard about the things you've been doing in Mexico. I literally hadn't been doing anything but missions with him. And he's like, you can't play both sides of this war. Quick, find us a horse. Let me whistle for one. It's a very fast horse. He's like, you can't play both sides. If you try to stick on both sides of the fence, you're gonna get impaled on it. And it was weird because I didn't know what he was talking about. I hadn't been playing both sides. I had just been talking to him and doing missions for him. So that's something that can happen. Also, I will admit, just even where are we going? Let me just see where we're going quick. Cool. Can I actually... It does this great thing. You see that green on the left side? That's... You can hold the X button. Okay, this horse is not following the path very well. You can hold the X button. What happened? What do you mean I abandoned Reyes? Did he fall off? Shooting while riding a horse doesn't work so well, so you can hold the X button and he will ride at the same speed as the companion. Oh, come on. Where am I getting shot from? Up there? Oh, come on. Reload, reload. There we go. I gotta switch to a different gun. This doesn't have it. This only has 2 bullets. Okay. You can hold X to travel at the same speed as the person in front of you, and that's really helpful, so you don't have to, like, try and match it. Oh, I forgot to turn. That's really cool. So even... Look, I see more in front of us. Where are you going, horse?
What the hell do I do now?
Stay with the guy. Okay, so I don't think I'm supposed to be shooting these people.
Let's go.
Go, horse. There we go. Let's just follow him. Ooh, he got shot. When you start missions, there isn't really a good explanation for going to these places, especially like the side stories. It's just a question mark on your map, and you go to it. Like there's a guy who's trying to make the first airplane, and you will just go to this spot on the map, and you're like, hey dude, how's it going? What are you doing? And there isn't really an explanation for why John's out there or how he knows that this guy is there, or even just starting even the main missions. Like when you first come to Mexico, you can go anywhere. There's spots marked for Landon Ricketts and DeSantos. I think his name is DeSantos. And you just kind of go there, but you aren't really given a reason for how you know that Landon Ricketts is there. And you just kind of show up. And John talks about things that you don't know about yet. Like, early on, you get a machine gun, a big old machine gun, to try and defeat Bill Williamson's gang. And you get the machine gun, which is what you needed. And you're like, oh cool. You get it from a guy named Irish. Okay, I guess I'm on my own control now.
There she is. I remember her now. Mi amiga.
You get this machine gun, and then you have another mission with Irish. And I was kind of like, why? I got the machine gun that I was after. Why do I need to go see Irish again? And you go there, and John starts punching him, and he's like, you suck, bro. And I'm like, what's happening here? And he's like, the machine gun you gave me didn't work. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's why I was going here. You're not given the reason why you go to these places to see the people. It's just a little bit of weird storytelling. I consider it. They weren't perfect with it yet. I'm gonna take a drink of water, so you're gonna hear a pause. I probably don't need to tell you, but I don't like just stop talking. I know some of those words. Loses light. Fight? Luchara's fight? Also, her name is Luisa. So there's a little bit of stuff that doesn't work. Before this game came out, Rockstar had made mainly the Grand Theft Auto games. They also had that ping pong game, table tennis, which was interesting. They had some other games, but you know, they're mainly known for the... Oh, I can go do this now. Cool. They did the Grand Theft Auto games, which, I mean, I never liked the Grand Theft Auto games. They weren't really my thing. They, oh, skunk. Fun. I don't know. Never enjoyed them. I never considered... I shouldn't judge them based on me not playing them, but I didn't consider their storytelling to be the best. And I feel like in 2010 they were still figuring that out. There's still... You still see a lot of early Grand Theft Auto DNA in this game, with the letters signifying where people are on the map, but they don't really give you a reason why you are going to them. Stuff like that. So it's not perfect, but it is a great game. It has heavy themes, great storytelling, fantastic scenery, great characters, so much. Just look at Mexico. Look at this. It's wonderful. And no game since then, except for probably Red Dead 2, has managed to nail the Western vibe. Like, it just nails the vibe so much. I said it before, I'll say it again. The fact that everything you do is just cowboy stuff, is just story stuff, is amazing. There's no... There's no grinding for anything. You just do the cowboy stuff. What's this girl's name again? Ava? Here's the side mission, so you'll get to experience that. Oh man, we gotta talk uh, about this section of side missions I'm doing. John stumbles upon a person early on in the game. He's called the Stranger, I want to say. Let's see. Let me check the journal. Oh, I know you. The Strange Man. John stumbles upon a man wearing all black in the wilderness, and he knows about John. He knows about his past life. He knows very specific things. He's like, "Hey, John, you've done some bad things. Do you remember this woman that Dutch Vanderlyn shot? This innocent woman? I don't remember her name." And he's like, "What kind of person are you, John?" And he gives you these tests to do the right thing. The first one is the guy tells you about a man in Thieves Landing who is going to cheat on his wife. So you can go there and you can either encourage him to cheat on his wife or you can stop him, convince him not to. It's one of the very, very few things in this game where you have the choice in how to proceed.
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
I'm
I
actually
was looking for a girl by
I actually
the
want to
name
listen to this.
of Eva, I think. Wanted to
We'll pause this for a second. And you have the choice to convince him not to cheat on his wife or to let him to do it, to let him go ahead. And then you meet him again in Mexico, and he says there's a nun who needs help. You can either donate some money to help the greater cause, or you can rob her. I've obviously done the right things, or the good things. I convinced the guy to stop cheating on his wife, and I gave Ava some money, and she was like, "Thank you. Now I can go to the church and become a nun." And this is us checking up on her to see how things are going after we did that.
see if she was doing okay.
Are you one of her special friends?
No, I just helped her.
Oh,
She said she was coming in here.
oh, she came and she went. A man came for her. Turned out maybe he was her calling after all.
Okay. Thank you, sister.
Oh, I think they said they were going to El Sepulcro. But who knows? She wasn't much of one for the truth.
Interesting. I don't remember how this ends. So obviously something's up with Ava. It looks like she might not have been who she said she was. Oh, okay. But it also is called Ava in Peril. That's another thing I don't like is some of the names of the missions totally spoil the mission. Like there was a side mission called Appetites in America, and you different people come to you and they're like, "Hey, my son went missing in the hills, in them thar hills," or "My wife went missing in the hills," and you go there and all you find is like a bone and a shoe, and it turns out that there's a cannibal in the area eating people, and it Appetites in America that gives it away, or this one right here, Ava in Peril. Ava's obviously in trouble, so that's kind of lame. But back to the strange man. He seems to be testing John. This is one of the weirder side missions, the least realism side missions. Then I'm not sure if it's the third time you meet him or if there's another time, but eventually you meet him on standing on the place that will be John's future grave, where he is buried later, is the last place you meet him, and he gives you another test, a morality test to see what you do. And you're never given an explanation for who this guy is. You get some hints that he's like, I don't want to say the devil because he's dressed in all black, but I don't know, man. And he tests your morality. He knows all of the bad things you've done in life. Ava's not dead, is she? Oh, didn't mean to pull out my gun. Let's put that away because that can.
What are you doing, amigo?
Nothing.
Why'd you...
Wait. I got my missions mixed up. This is different. This is different. Okay. Ignore everything I said about the strange man. That's not this mission. Uh, this mission, you stumble upon this dude beating up this woman, just completely trashing her, and he's like, "Oh, you want her so bad? You can take her off my hands for $200, and you can either leave or I'm sure you can kill him too. I feel like you should be able to kill him, or you can pay him the $200 to take Eva off of his hands." And then she's like, "Okay, now I'm gonna go to the church and become a nun or whatever." And this is the result of that. This is the dude that was beating her and we paid the money to. Did I make a mistake by paying him the money?
Kill her.
I didn't kill her. I wouldn't do a thing like that. Sure, I'd hit her, but
Why'd you kill her? And why are you digging her up?
what business is it of yours, huh? Oh. You still want to lay with her? Huh?
You sold her. You let her go.
No, no, no. A good whore never leaves, man.
So he
Do
didn't
I
kill
get
her.
my money back now or after I've killed you?
She was just a goddamn whore, man. A goddamn
Here's another
filthy
minor
whore.
quibble I have with the game.
As you say.
The duels. I don't understand them.
Pinche.
Come on.
There are times where I like pull the trigger and then I fire as fast as possible and I still lose. And I don't know why I lose. So we'll see how this goes. I'm hitting the button and it's not. Okay, see, I still won there and I don't know why. There's these bars on the bottom, but I don't have time to look for them. So, lesson learned from John. Sometimes doing the right thing can still, and batting your upstanding knight in the league will. That's awfully nice of them. Well, I got my 200 back. That's actually genuinely very nice because there's a house that I wanted to buy over here. I think I'll do that. We're running out of time. We only got about 6.5 minutes left, so let's end it with riding to this house and purchasing it. Like any good cowboy, gotta own some real estate. Anyways, back to that strange man. The last place that he meets you is on the place that will eventually be John's grave, where he will be buried in the future. And there's so many signals that this person is a higher power, not a real person. And it's just fascinating to me. It was this sci-fi take in this Western world. The only one that I can really remember. I don't think there's anything else. But yeah, just look at this scenery. At nighttime, daytime, it doesn't matter. It's always beautiful. Even the horses, look at their muscles moving. That's crazy. In 2010? I should look up other games that came out in 2010, but I don't know off the top of my head. This was just miles beyond anything else that came out. It's a game that changed, as I said earlier, it's a game that changed my video game life. I crave stories like this that push themes that make me feel things. We got to here much quicker than I thought we would. We might start traveling to the next place after I save up here. See, they're talking about me. They said that's that Gringo Marston. Gringo means friend. That's not true. The themes, I always search for games with great stories, games with great themes, games that make me think, that really push me to consider things that I hadn't considered before. It's tough to find. A lot of games focus on being a game, you know, like grinding for loot. And that's fine. That's fine. I love games that have I love games that hook me on their systems. But for a game to have a special story, for a game to make you emotional, it's something special. I plan on showing more of those games that have mean something like that to me on this channel. This was the first one that set me on that path. This was the first game that had a real story that it let you explore. Another thing about this game, you don't have a lot of choice. You don't have a lot of free will. A lot of games give you choices that affect the story. The story can play out one way or it can play out another. I'm gonna drink some water. My mouth's getting dry. A lot of games do that, where you make choices and that affects the story, and that's fine and all. But I have my issues with those. I like a lot of those. I'll be honest. I like a lot of those. Like the Walking Dead series was another one that was heavily influential to me story-wise. But it's one of those things that like it kind of lessens it for me in that there are stories different to my own. People can have different experiences than what I had. So like some people will replay those games to see the different outcomes, to see the different how the choices you made affect things. Excuse me. And I was never one to do that because I felt like it invalidated my story when I played it. I liked my first run through because I was like, this is the choices I made with these characters, for good or for bad. I could go back and change things so that everything's good, but I have to stick with the choices I made. There aren't choices in this game. Aside from those missions with the strange man where it tests your morality, there aren't really. I mean, granted, you can be like with that person being dragged. I could help them, I could not help them, but it doesn't affect the story in a greater sense. The story beats still play out exactly the same, and I'm just experiencing this story through the lens of John Marston and his character. So many games put you as the main character, and you make the choices that you would make, like uh, Mass Effect, another series that I love dearly. You shape Commander Shepard to be the person that you want him to be. You don't do that in this game. John Marston has a past life. You are living through his present life. You are experiencing it, and you are controlling him. You're doing all the stuff for him, but you are experiencing this world through his lens. You are not shaping the person he becomes. You are not shaping how he sees the world. You're experiencing how the world changes him. And I think that's something that is very special. It's something that's very special in this game. It's something that not a lot of games do. It's wonderful. There's there's so many things that I love about this game. I'm excited to keep playing it. I'm gonna play it through to the end. I got the 7-day free trial of PlayStation Now. I'm gonna use it. So yeah, if you haven't checked out Red Dead Redemption, it's going to be tough to come by because it's only on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. It's backwards compatible on Xbox One or PlayStation Now, and that's it. I'm excited to eventually play Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't know when I will because consoles are so expensive. I'm really excited though to continue that. I did look up the Strange Man mentions that, like I said, that woman that gets killed by Dutch Vanderlyn. I looked it up because I had to know if that gets mentioned in the sequel, which is a prequel, Red Dead Redemption 2, and it does. It does play a part in the first game, and I love that. This spirit person is like, hey, this is a messed up thing you did, actually plays a part. I love that. Oh, I didn't sleep in the save place. Did I sleep? I don't think I did. I think I just collected the ammo and left. We might not make it to our location in time. We only got a minute left. So, if you've been watching up to this point, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. This is, like I said, one of the most special games to me. It does so many things that were revolutionary at the time. It shaped me. It shaped me as a person. It shaped my video game playing life. I know that seems like a lot, and some people are gonna be like, it's just a game. This is more than a game to me. This is something really special. And I hope that this was a good experience for you watching. I hope that I've made my points clear. I know I ramble and jump around a lot. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more of videos from me, like, subscribe, leave a comment on what you liked or didn't like. Like I always say, if you didn't like my videos, drop a dislike. Comment that you didn't like it. I don't, that's fine. I want to get better. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. Mwah.